Hi, my name is Greg Rossetti. I'm the police officer for the City of Madison Police at LaFollette High School. When I was a neighborhood officer in the Darbo-Worthington neighborhood on the east side of Madison, I worked with a number of community members and an organization called the Dane County Time Bank to come up with a restorative justice project in the neighborhood. The project was a youth court that we started, and it's based on the principles of restorative justice. Restorative justice is a concept that people make mistakes, and that to rectify the situation that they make amends to the community that they made the mistakes in. So, for example, if you steal something from in the neighborhood, from one of your neighbors in the Darbo-Worthington neighborhood, you don't really owe anything downtown. You owe that neighbor to make amends. You owe the neighborhood your time and effort to make things right. And that's basically the concept of restorative justice, is that you make a mistake and you go back to the community and you rectify or make the situation better by completing community service, by making amends to victims, by working with both your strengths and your weaknesses to become a better person. So bringing that concept from the Darbo-Worthington neighborhood, I later got a lateral promotion to the LaFollette High School. My first year at LaFollette High School, we started a youth court at LaFollette High School. The court was first stacked with volunteers, but pretty soon it was a good mix of volunteers and actually people who had to go through the court for making mistakes at LaFollette High School. The court, which is in its third year, works with LaFollette students who commit or who make mistakes on the LaFollette campus or the general area around the east side. So if a kid gets into a fight with another kid, and nobody gets hurt, that is one of the referrals that we get to the LaFollette Youth Court. Another is smoking marijuana on campus is usually a youth court referral. Being insubordinate or disrupting a class to the point where it becomes a major disruption, those are usually youth court referrals. We also take truancy if it's just simple truancy. We also take alcohol. So anybody who brings alcohol or comes to LaFollette with alcohol on board, they have the opportunity to go to the LaFollette Youth Court. The Youth Court principle is the same as it was at Darbo-Worthington. That if you if you make a mistake at LaFollette High School, you don't really owe anything downtown. You owe LaFollette High School your best to make amends. So if a kid gets into a fight with another kid, the kid owes the school for the time and effort that it had to spend to get the situation right, to make sure everybody was safe. So like a sentence in that type of situation is maybe the youth courts can sentence a kid to a multitude of sentencing options, a lot of it provided by the Dane County Time Bank. So say a kid gets into a pushing match with another kid in the hallway of LaFollette High School. Instead of issuing a city ordinance, we have those kids go to the youth court. They get sentenced by their peers. The sentences are based both on their strengths and their weaknesses. So, for example, a kid may tell his youth jury that he's not doing well in a certain class, but he's like algebra, but he has a strength in another class like art. And the youth court also asks his parents, who usually attend the youth court proceedings, and they'll ask the parent, like, what's Johnny like at home? Is he getting along with either you, Does he come home on time? Is there anything else that the jury should know before we make a sentence? Based on what the parents say, based on what the kid says, the jury spends a significant amount of time to come up with a decision, or come up with a sentence that the kid can complete in 3 months. Once that's completed, there will be no record of the incident in police records, and there will be no ticket issued for the kid. So once you do your youth court, your other obligations to the police are all finished. So what's significant about this process is that a lot of people who are on one side of the jury who committed mistakes also end up in the juries. So that there's a significant learning experience going on and a significant leadership potential going on here. So a kid makes a mistake, say he comes to school high, he might have a casual, a little bit of weed on him. Instead of getting a ticket, he comes to the youth court, they listen to his circumstances, they listen to his parents, they listen to his needs, what his strengths are, they come up with a sentence. The kid does his sentence, and that kid is also asked either because they sentence him, or they just ask him to become part of the jury. This kid who's been through the process is one of our great strengths of our process, because they've been through the process, so they understand how the kid that they as jury members are going to listen to the case. They understand how it felt because they were on the other side with that kid. So what I see is kids going through the youth court process, I see generally that they do better at school, that their leadership potential is heightened. If they stay with us, they become better public speakers, they become more critical thinkers, and that they help out with the general safety of the school because they see how things go down. They intervene in situations with their students, with their other students, and they try to be the peacemakers. The kids in the youth court are in the school are the peacemakers. The kids who go and notify adults that there's a situation going on, they work well with other kids to keep other kids out of trouble. And at La Follette High School, we've had 50 to 60 kids associated with the youth court. All these kids are, for almost a dime to a dozen, are better off, and they've made the La Follette community safer because they bought into the relationship of the youth court. They bought into the relationship that the other relationships that the youth court has brought them. So, and speaking on that, that's one of the other benefits, is that the youth court at La Follette, it's not really a court. It's more like a community that intervenes in a situation where kids have made mistakes. The community takes the kids and mentors them through the sentences that they receive from the youth court. So, say a kid gets sentenced to to maybe 6 or 7 hours of community service, tutoring at the homework club, maybe sets up a mentoring thing for him or her through the Dane County Time Bank. That sentence is overseen by Michelle Olson, Terry Meissen, myself, or others who are involved in the youth court. So the kid's not at the kid gets a sentence and has to do it himself. There's an adult, somebody at La Follette High School is close to the kid that helps the kid go through, complete a sentence and be successful. And I think that's why we have a good success rate. I think that's all I have at this point. Thank you for listening. This is Officer Greg Rossetti signing off.